Today I want to talk about some meaningful way for you and your client to build out a relationship. And that type of relationship need to be solid, need to be meaningful. So the first step is to create a source of a meaning. For example, if you have a client who want to get rid of a obsessive thought process, how you gonna help your client? By identifying the legitimate resource are very important. And that legitimate resource will be motivation. The positive motivation can change a client. Therefore, bringing or linking to that quality of the curiosity of a high number of the action could create a positive outcome for you and your client. Let's say a client want to achieve their goal, but they find it's difficult because they are a high achiever. And how you gonna do with that? You probably will help a client to explore some possible outcome and option. And in that way, they will be able to achieve their goal. You don't have to use a centralized sources, but some basic essential dimensions such as help client to find a meaning and make that contract work for the client to work for a higher level of thinking and thought process. Then that links to how to build a pattern of a meaningful action. So at the beginning, when we talk about support client to find the source of meaning, and right now we're trying to build out a pattern. So what is a pattern? A pattern need to be consistency with the positive overachieved goal, and there should be some very natural verbal interaction, because as a clinician we are focusing on targeted two main process. First of all, they need to be able to ensure the client can connecting with her action or his action by finding their goal and finding that action that will support their network. When I mean network, I mean in their social community network in terms of targeting their function to get better. So when you connecting that subject, you will get some kind of satisfaction for the client. For example, you can ask, what are the things that you could do that would be able to contribute to a service of, you can put in a blank, and ask the client how they achieve the goal. So then you go back to the conditional framing when we talked about this long time ago, probably a couple months ago. Apply that conditional framing and the client will be able to find out the answer. And last thing I want to talk about today is how to preparing the action. So when you're already creating the meaning and you're already connecting the meaningful, build out the possible pattern and action, and now you can looking for that word, preparing the action. So it's about building a prepare something that will work for your client. There may be a risk of failure, but you're gonna give it a try. So putting all those things together, for example, you are asking a client to be more independent. And why they need to be independent? Because they want to be fulfilling of their life. And then you tie those together to make those positive enforcement. You have to emphasize on that and make sure the client will understand why they need to identify those actions to make things work. And for this reason, all the clinicians should help the client state their intention to engage in an action in a manner that can increase the contact with lasting satisfaction rather than avoiding or escape from their undesirable consequences.